What's up, guys? This is Isaiah. I guess I can say my last name, Isaiah Tijero. I'm here with my brother,
Elijah.
and
Same last name, believe it or not.
yeah, pretty crazy. And this is our first attempt, I guess, at doing some kind of podcast, because we were kind of thinking that, a podcast, like, it's what's hip right now. A lot of people are doing podcasts, and it's just kind of a good idea, I think, to have like the perspectives and like the kind of ideas of like young Christian men. I will say that maybe we should have another podcast that's from the other side, from Christian women, girls, or something like that. But right now that's our perspective, so that's the one that we're providing here. And I just feel like it's just kind of cool to have young people talk about their Christianity, and they're just views on the world from that mindset in podcast form.
It's true. A lot of misconceptions may exist among people in general who hear this, whether they be from anywhere or people within the church who hear this, who think this or think that and assume different things. So it's like you get kind of an inside look. And I talked about in another part of this podcast, if you get there, how it might have been a little bit too personal to drop, but it's cool for you to get to look into our personal opinions and values, so that you can get some perspective, like, okay, this is what some other people think.
Yeah. So enjoy the podcast.
Okay. So we're starting, and this is the Fly Podcast. So I guess since I haven't been around lately, because I'm in college, I guess a question that I have for you, since you've been here, is what do you think about the state of Fly right now? Because I'm not in it. I remember I was in it when we had like the ambassador program and all that, where like we had like leaders in Fly. For those listening, if you don't remember, or you just are new or didn't know, we used to have a program where certain individuals that were in Fly, typically the older members, would have the role of ambassador, where they take on a little bit of extra responsibility, and they're supposed to be someone that the rest of Fly can talk to if they don't want to go to the leader, the ministry leader, or they don't want to, they don't want to share too many details with an adult, quote unquote. So yeah, and I don't think we've done that for a long time. So that's who I am. I was an ambassador, so that's my relevance to being on this podcast in the first place. But a lot of things have changed, and I guess I'd like to know what kind of things that is.
Yeah, so for those of you who listen to this podcast, I am just a guy who goes to Fly. I'm 16. My brother, who was just talking, is aged out already, like he was saying. But
he's trying to say I'm old.
He is. So back in those back in those days that you were talking about, I did like a lot of what was going on with the ambassadors, because people kind of were looking to y'all in some sense as an example, and they're like, okay, this is what I want to be like when I'm grown up.
Yeah.
The next 4 or 5 years, and then you guys had to go because you're old, you're doing your things, and
Again,
there are a lot of
old, bro. I'm not old.
There are a lot of spots that had to be filled up, and so like I remember back in the starting days, nobody would vacuum, and it would be Miss Faith, which is the so we have a youth pastor. Well, he's just the assistant pastor to the church, but he's the leader over Fly, not a youth pastor. But his wife, him and his wife were like doing the setting up and breaking down by themselves. If somebody helped them out, it was like a favor. Nobody was like, oh yeah, it's my responsibility to clean, And but since a lot of like the ambassadors leaving, with that some of the I can't think of the way to say it.
The core.
Or like the hands of the older people being 18 and up, are not as involved. Not in a bad way, though. It's like, look, y'all need to do something.
Oh, what you're trying to say is that, like, the adult leaders or the ministry leaders decided to put more responsibility on the members of Fly.
Right. that happen both like as an on purpose thing and
twisted.
My bad, bro. But as an on purpose thing and
brain blasted,
and as a byproduct of other people just having to leave because of life circumstances.
Yeah,
like school and college or whatever. And so
mistakes.
But now we can trust that you're stupid. I just realized we can trust that you're stupid.
I love school. Love it. It's my favorite. we can trust.
We can trust that all that stuff will get done without anybody needing to be told.
Yeah.
People are like, oh yeah, you know, I'm gonna vacuum tonight. Oh, I'm gonna put away these tables. I'm taking out trash. I'm wiping down everything. Like, just like Pastor Scott says, it's like it's not babysitting no more.
Yeah.
And like I even remember, I was thinking about it just a few weeks ago when we were at Fly, because afterward we finished up, and then so there are two girls that usually like to vacuum. I'm putting them on the spot. It's Olivia and Alyssa, right? Alyssa had banged up her ankle, right?
Word.
Not necessarily banged up. It is a whole. Anyway, Olivia was at work, I think.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so anyway, neither of them are there at Fly. They usually, not that everybody just leaves them to vacuum, but they'll like fight you about it. So they usually vacuum, but they weren't there. And so there's 3 vacuums that the church has in the back closet. I pulled out all 3 of them, and I was thinking while I was walking to where everyone was at, I was thinking about how back in the day, you couldn't get anybody to vacuum. Like, you would mention it, and everybody would be like, oh, here, look around, and then let Miss Faith do it, which is kind of stupid. But I walked in there, and I was like, yo, I need 2 able-bodied people to come and vacuum. And I turned around, and I left. And then 2 people in like 10 seconds that just showed up in there, and we're vacuuming. And it was just smooth. It was just cool. So people are, and I know I'm just talking about vacuuming.
Well, yeah, but what you're saying is that you feel as though there has been a growth in maturity,
yes,
and responsibility amongst Fly.
Yeah.
Since I've been gone, since the ambassador program ended and all that. Let me get back on the mic. I sound real quiet. My fault. Okay, I guess that's cool.
Yeah.
Kind of, I don't know, this is random, but something that I noticed as you were telling your story is that you were able to say, hey guys, I need 2 people to vacuum, and then they went and vacuumed. I think that might be the signs of a leader, which I think is a good thing. I'm not really asking you, actually. I'm talking to the listeners now. I'm talking to you guys directly. I think that it's really awesome that when you come into Fly, you can, be trained up to do all kinds of different things. You can be good at cleaning up. I'm not good at cleaning up. Maybe I would have got better at it if I was.
Yeah, you should see his dorm.
Training up.
I'm just playing. It's probably clean. I don't even know.
Hey, bro, he's never even been in my dorm. It's clean. You can get on the podium, get on stage, do song service, or you can do stuff in the sound booth, or you can lead song service. I think I was talking with Pastor Deontay, who is the head of the Fly ministry, and he was saying that he wants to start getting people to actually do lessons during Fly. And that's what I'm saying about Fly. I do feel like there's just so much that can come out of Fly, especially if you start young, because by the time you're an adult, by the time you're my age, you're ready to go. You know what I mean? You're ready to do all kinds of things, and I think that's really cool. I do think that's because while I'm not here in Fly, I do hear about Fly a lot. I try to stay involved just because, I don't know, I really care about the state of this ministry. It's one of the coolest things for me.
That's true. For the listeners, we have a brother between us. By the way, I'm 16. The other one talking is 20. Yeah. But in between us, there's an 18-year-old who is now in college. But I was talking to him when he was 17. He was still in Fly, and he was reflecting about leaving for college and everything. And he was like, yo, honestly, this has got to be like top 2 favorite places to be. And I was like, caught off guard by that, because I mean he's social enough, but he doesn't usually delight in going everywhere and doing everything. Like, he enjoys some hobbies like playing music or drawing or listening to podcasts like you.
We appreciate you guys.
Yeah, love y'all. Listening to podcasts and stuff like that you do by yourself, that you do at home, that are best done when you're by yourself at home. And so it just caught me off guard to hear that, but his reasoning was kind of the same that you gave. He's like, I know that we got some good folks here. There's a lot that can come out of what we're doing. It's easy to see tangibly, like, what could happen in somebody's life, even in a few months or a year or so, just of working through this ministry and applying yourselves, filling positions like you were saying.
Yeah.
And so one of the coolest effects of Fly that I've seen recently, because we're talking about how Fly's been recently, is how people can, because the whole aspect of adults being in place already, they've been in place for 50 years, and they you know what I'm saying, all that stuff. Because that whole aspect has been removed and other people are having to do something, and like they have to see themselves as something in the church, because without them there's nobody. They get a kind of a glimpse of like who they could be.
Okay.
Not only, I'm not talking about a position in the church, but somebody who fulfills responsibility, somebody who can follow up on other people, somebody who can witness. You're somebody who's let God change you on the inside. A lot of people get a glimpse of that through just the ministries at Fly, because there's not always somebody else to throw it on. And so it's like the idea of, okay, without me there's nobody, and who am I? Who am I through God? And that realization, yeah,
it's important. So I guess kind of going off in that same vein, we talked a lot about some of the benefits, a lot of just the things that Fly is doing right, you know what I mean? Just a lot of just the really cool stuff that we have going. But I guess now what I want to ask is, what do you think we could do better, I guess? Anytime.
Sorry, y'all. For the listeners, I was thinking about it, and I was just kind of looking at them. But I don't want to give like a half-hearted answers. That's what I'm thinking. You know?
I'll keep y'all occupied.
I'll keep you occupied.
I'll keep you guys entertained.
I think occupied might have been better.
So, while he's thinking of an answer, I think that Fly could be doing better in a few things. One, because I've heard this a lot, where people will go, apparently in other churches, the Fly name is like some kind of, special thing, where it's like, we heard about that Fly ministry and we wanted our youth to do something. Yeah. And then it's like, what happened? Where'd it go? So like, maybe not necessarily something you do, but it's like, figure out the answer to that question first.
Yeah. So I remember in the times that we were attaining the most hype, I'm talking among the ranks and then just with everybody observing, was when we had the Impact team that was teens, and it was to Virginia. And then, people still reference the trip all the time. It was just the conversations on the way there. People are talking about just getting into reading their Bibles. People are talking about different struggles with like witnessing to people and stuff like that. But just basically being in the cut, being in the grind with your peers. Like, okay, we're serving God side by side. That had everybody hot. Everybody was excited to do something for God. Like what in the church atmosphere, everybody calls being on fire. Everybody's on fire. And
broiled.
Yeah. And so everybody's just excited to do something. Everybody's excited to be in God's will. Everybody's excited to get out there, street preach, witness to somebody. And everybody just being together caused everybody to be excited about that. And so, like, Pastor Scott was talking about doing some people from Fly doing their own lessons and just kind of getting like how they have iron sharpens iron in a lot of churches where, you know, a bunch of the guys get together. Somebody was like, hey, I've been reading this in my Bible, and, you know, I really think this is how it applies to me, and maybe we can all take this and use this. So Pastor Scott was thinking about doing something like that, bringing forth people from Fly, just to talk about things that they've been reading, share with people, and we talk about it and express, just to get everybody like thinking together about the word. And that's cool. I think that was gonna be cool, but we won't be doing it for a while because as of right now, we have practices for a play that's coming up, and they last like throughout until January because the play is not through January, but through the end of December because the play is for Christmas. So we won't get back to Fly because Tuesday is taken up until like January. So for a while that won't be happening, but
Yep.
I guess the thing that would make it better the most is just us involving ourselves where we can and taking our eyes off of just like all this personal things, like people getting involved in stupid dramas or people getting involved in like they got like one foot in the church but their mind might be somewhere else. I know that happens from time to time. We can kind of fall off, and you got to refocus yourself on God before you trip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. There are definitely there's a lot of merit to what you're saying. I definitely think that like you were mentioning, Pastor Deontay was talking about, you know, having iron sharpens iron, or just these kinds of things that can bring I guess the energy back to Fly, where it's like, you know, we're a part of this now. We're something we're doing. I think that you know, bringing people to Christ, the people that are growing right now in Fly, people that are really coming in tune with their salvation, with their spirituality, with just really wanting to serve God, is obviously just like the baseline, the most important thing. Like, we can't do anything without it. But in that same vein, I feel like when we have those, you know, those converts, these just people's lives changing and things that, you know, people don't want to do anymore, they want to really serve, they really want to get serious about doing something for God. That's what Fly is for, where it's like, it's not necessarily that Fly is just, you know, where the teens that are saved hang out. It's not necessarily for that. It's mainly, at least in my opinion, that it's just giving teens who want to serve God a platform to do something with that, a platform to spread their salvation to anybody who's going to listen. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, kind of what we're doing with this podcast, if I'm being honest, where it's like, you know, just starting up something, being excited about something and doing something. Okay, so now that we've talked about Fly in the Fly podcast, you know, fitting, I think maybe now we should maybe talk about some other things, branch out into some different kinds of topics. Like, I don't know, I'm taking a religion class right now at school. So hello, listeners. Sorry to pull you out of the action there, but this is just a notice. If the audio sounds weird from here on, I switched mics in the middle. So yeah, back to the podcast.
Have you ever had a conversation between quote unquote Christians? I guess I can say that. I think, yeah, anyway, that's a separate point. I'm not going to go into that. Quote unquote Christians with a Catholic person. Have you ever had a conversation with them as Christians?
You've had it. So have you? What?
Have you ever, as Christians, had a conversation with a Catholic person about the differences, I guess?
So the only like actual conversation that was lengthy that I could really like pull much from was not from a very reliable source, because there's a girl I know at school that is like, she'll just get carried away with some belief system like every week and get really deep into whether it's crystals and tarot cards this time. Well, but the Catholicism lasted the longest. It was like 3 months of like, oh my gosh, Lent, talking to everybody all loud about it. Oh, I'm so happy to eat my salad, and not the pizza because, you know, Lent. Or like, I'm serious. I'm not even really exaggerating. And the Ash Wednesday, walking around the school with the ash on her forehead, and a portrait of Jesus and Mary as her lock screen.
I'll be walking around with ash on my forehead.
Oh my! If you're still listening, bro, you're a trooper. This guy sucks. But yeah, like, I mean, lock screens of like these pictures of European Jesus and stuff like that.
Jesus. I like that you had to specify.
It's a Catholicism thing.
Okay,
Kinda.
I guess because it's
So-
Roman Catholic.
Yeah, but she was just real into it. And so we're talking, and she was talking about the love of Mary
Nice, love that.
and how
Love
she's
Mary.
felt the love of Mary in her life. And I was like, dang, that just sounds creepy because there's so many horror
Sounds
movies
gay.
about like,
Oh, my fault. I'm sorry,
bro. But yeah, and it was just a weird conversation.
No hate if you're gay, but that's a sin, by the way. You know, repent and all that. I'm sure there are resources out there
Love you though.
for sure.
Would it be not funny to say no homo? Because I meant it, but okay, my bad. I'm too close to the mic.
Nah, bro. You get close to the mic when you want to make a very important point like this. Exactly. So, because I've had these kinds of conversations with a Catholic before, and it would like, man, this is my friend too, but I don't know, man. I don't know why I do this, but we were talking, and I was like, "So you're Catholic?" And she was like, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Word." So I asked her, I'm like, so you pray to Mary?
Yeah.
And she said, "Yeah." And I'm like, "Word? Okay."
Why?
Why?
That's why I thought of the V-Bucks.
No, and so then I'm like, okay. And then I don't know a lot about Catholicism, but I think I asked, like, do you guys use a different Bible? And she was like, nah. Although I think they do. They got like the Book of Jerome or something.
Definitely not, bro. They got the Book of George.
The Book of Michael.
Oh my gosh, yeah, they got all those. Definitely no Jerome,
So
no
then
racial.
I said, okay, of course you have the 10 Commandments, right? Yeah. Don't. And this is my friend. I don't know why I did this to. I said, doesn't it say have no other gods before me? Don't pray to anybody else, right? And I'm like, so you're praying not only to an idol, you're praying to an idol of Jesus's mom.
Shout out Playboy Cardi.
I'm like, bro, that's weird.
Yeah.
She had no answer, no response. I don't get it.
Yeah.
And I've been taking a course, for those of you listening. I'm in college, and right now I'm taking a class on ancient Christianity and ritual and whatnot. And it's weird to hear about how different people think about Christianity, but they all are technically Christians. And it's like, some of y'all got to be wrong, bro. We can't all be correct.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that's interesting. Denominations and whatnot.
Yeah, we were on outreach today, and I was telling somebody about just, having a relationship with God and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, okay, but what denomination is your church? And I was like, and I was there. I was like, we're not denominational. We just believe in God. And they're like, so how can you be sure? You can't believe in God without the right focus. And I was like, what do you mean? And they're like, because different denominations have different practices and everybody's trying to get it right, but only the people with the right focus are gonna get
I think that's true though. Like Catholicism, that's a denomination of Christianity, and they're just wrong. Sorry if you're Catholic,
Jeez,
but like
bro.
I just made the point. If you're praying to an idol, you're wrong.
Yeah.
Just a fact. I'm sorry.
Also, a lot of Catholic. Thank you. A lot of Catholic ideals are like really person focused.
Right.
So it's like people can't hear from God. It's always they go into some dude to hear from God from the dude, and then like it's throughout history the dude is always swindling them, like some like the stereotype megachurch pastors.
Yeah.
Like, oh
Either
yes, tell me all your sins.
Like they're the only person that can contact God for real. Like for us, for example, I don't know if everyone listening kind of prays and whatnot, but what we believe and what we can do is that we have a personal relationship with God, and when we pray, we're talking to God, right? And in a lot of Catholic just practices and whatnot, they have like, you know, the Hail Marys and whatnot, where it's like these things they say, like, you know, the Lord's Prayer, and it's like, give us this day our daily bread and all that, and they just recite these things, and it's like, you know, they can't really talk to God. They got to go to the priest for that, or they got to go to the Pope for that, or they got to go to, and when they confess their sins, they confess their sins to some dude. They go to confessionals, and I feel like that's a little strange. It's like really man focused, and you know, and that is explicit in the Bible that it's like, you know, not man, God. You know what I mean? But
and then like, so in the Old Testament, you know, societies were built a little bit different, and there was something similar where they would seek God for forgiveness through a high priest,
right?
You know, but everybody in that community, it's like the community is set up so that that interaction would make sense. But in today's societies around the world, there's no way. Nobody in your community is going to be trustable, and also it's like, if they are living in sin, it's not going to be
trustworthy.
Thank you. But it's like God is not going to strike them dead on the point, so you can't trust nobody, and so it's got to be
true.
And somewhere in the New Testament, it was talking about how Jesus dying for our sins was so that he would be established as the newly ordained high priest overall. And so it's like we seek forgiveness through Jesus. And not through, and so therefore it's a one-on-one thing. It does not involve any third-party middleman, anything like that. And I mean, they talk about that a lot. And so, like Catholicism, I think it might, some parts of it just seem like it's man trying to keep their foot in it for their own benefit.
I think in a lot of ways it might just be like kind of what they're used to. You know what I mean? Like these systems have been in place for probably longer than a lot of the systems that we're used to, like song service and altar call. It might be not common. While Catholicism, I think Catholics make up 52% of Christians on the planet. Right? So that's like that's Christianity to a majority of people, and then everything else fits in the other 50%. So not even 50, 48. So it's like, I don't know. There's a reason for that. Catholicism has been around longer, technically. That's why you go back to Martin Luther, and he created the Lutheran Church, where he put the 12 rights, or the 120
95 theses.
95 theses, and he put them on the door and said, read these. And then, you know, and he didn't want to keep going because he wanted to change. He didn't like the way that it was being handled.
You did just fine. You couldn't hear it. It didn't pick up.
Yes, it did.
Sorry,
bro,
guys.
I can play it back.
Don't do it.
I'm not going
guys,
to.
I'm sorry.
If you didn't catch that, that's an Easter egg. Don't go back. But if you missed it, well, you can't. You are not allowed to go back anymore.
You're not. You'll die.
You won't die, but you'll lose our respect, and that's pretty important.
That's the same thing as dying. Because when you lose our respect, there's a weird phenomenon that happens where your liver falls out. You don't want that to happen.
Moving on. is that's like these things were in place. Maybe it takes part because obviously Christianity is a subsect of Judaism, right? If you know that. So like Jesus was Jewish, he was a Jew.
Yeah.
Feel me? And so like a lot of the customs, the rituals, the religion was to be Jewish. We serve the God of Jews. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's God, but the main difference is that Jesus died on the cross, and that's basically like where the New Testament comes from. You know what I mean? So it's like maybe Catholicism goes to like ancient times of Jewish tradition where they didn't have Christ on the cross, where it was they went to the priest or the temple and said, "Forgive me of my sins, O priest." And and then the priest goes up, because that is a thing,
Yeah.
or was a thing. But the fact that it still happens, I think, is just a little strange, especially if you can read the Bible and you call yourself a Christian. If you're reading the Torah, then okay, but you're not.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's true. That's hard.
Okay.
And I'm saying like hard as in like that's difficult.
yeah,
Like, yeah. But do you Catholics? Do Catholics try to make converts? Do they like outreach and whatnot, or is it just something that you're culturally absorbed into?
Catholics witness.
They do.
Catholic's Witness. Someone from the studio audience, the live studio audience. You should have been here, guys. Sorry.
Hey.
But yeah, they said yes, they do witness, and I'll
Okay.
take his word for it. He's pretty smart.
Occasionally.
Kinda. So okay, then yeah, that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know. I guess most denominations of Christian, like, is Mormonism a subsect of Judaism, just like Christianity? Is it Christianity?
It's racist. It's racist. Mormonism is so strange to me. Most things, even like that, I was talking with somebody for a long time, and for a long time I'm talking about like not one sitting, but just going back and forth for a while about Islam.
Yeah.
And a lot of things were actually interesting. I mean, I'm listening, we're talking, whatever, comparing stuff. Mormonism just is not it.
It's not. It don't even make sense as a religion to me.
I had a good friend in middle school, and this dude was white, and his whole family was Mormon, and just, I mean, long line of
Yeah,
Mormons. And so we talked about faith
I think
every now
that's
and
a
then.
cult.
Maybe.
Anyway, move on.
But then we're talking one day just about faith and everything, and he's looking at me, and he's squinting, and he's like, "Elijah, I'm not gonna lie. Was it weird to expose my name in the podcast?" No.
No.
He was like, "I think Mormonism might be kind of racist, because why should just because like a certain kind of people, like, why is that?"
Who is allowed to go to heaven?
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with their choices or their heart. It's just like he said, I feel like some person just came up with that, and it's like,
Well, good observation.
Yeah.
I don't think so as well.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the weirdest things where like new religions, and it's like, I don't know, like a lot of the like Judaism, Christianity, Islam, these are religions that, while I don't subscribe to the two others other than Christianity, I get them. It makes sense as religions. I feel I guess I'm biased because we all start exactly the same, which means all of us are right at the beginning.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Something's got to be right,
And
yeah.
everyone else is wrong. That's what I think. One of us is right. Obviously, I think Christians are right. But if you're not one of the three of us, you're for sure wrong.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
Yeah, I get what you mean. It's like, yeah,
So like Mormonism, for example, it's just like so strange. It's so strange to like, because I've heard about Mormon outreach, and we outreach because the Bible says go out into the world and preach the gospel to every nation, people. I think there's different translations. Preach the gospel. Go
Yeah.
out and preach. There you go.
Every living creature.
But the more like Mormonism and Mormon outreach is a mandate by the pastor, quote unquote. I don't know what they call him, probably Dark Lord. Nope, can't be dark.
Daddy. Wow.
Sorry.
Wow.
Anyway, whatever they call him, I think they call him like father or something weird.
Padre.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Sorry, I don't want to disrespect any Mormons,
You're
but
right.
you probably clicked off a long time ago, dog.
No, if you listen to something that makes you a little bit mad, I feel like you stick around. That's what I do. It's like, how could they say that?
Nah, bro. Sidetrack, guys. We've been talking about Christian stuff this whole time. Every time I try to cut on Ben Shapiro, I turn him off immediately.
Okay, that's different. When something's just like annoying, but like if somebody is like, they have regular type of content, but they just say something foul.
Yeah,
it's like you kind of pay attention or this is what you pay attention for a little bit longer, and it's like, why would they say that, and what are their thoughts and whatever.
Yeah.
While you're mad at them, though, you're staring at the screen like, I can't believe this guy.
I guess. Okay. But anyway, like Mormon outreach is a mandate. Like it's like you do this number of times a day.
Are Mormons the ones with the suicides? They have the
suicide.
Yeah,
where like you have to uphold this ridiculous standard, and when it becomes hard to do, they're like brainwashed to say, well, if I can't live this way, I'm not going to heaven.
Yeah.
So why live at all? Boppity boppity.
Yeah, they Mormons have a weird suicide correlation.
Yeah, I think I'm switching it up. I think I'm mixing up the outreach stuff with Mormonism and Jehovah's Witness.
Yeah,
it's Jehovah's Witness where you're not saved, quote unquote, if you're not going out and preaching every day.
For Mormonism, I think it's like they gotta do that, and they get this certain number of wives or something in the afterlife.
In heaven, yeah,
and then they get
heaven.
some earthly ministry standards come from like how many outreaches you can do.
Nice. Yeah, some religions, man, it's like, where did you get these ideas? Like Scientology? I don't know. I don't even know a lot about Scientology. I haven't researched it.
I don't think I know anything about it.
I kind of don't really want to. The only thing I know about Scientology is that I think Tom Brady is in it. So that's it.
Wait. So and I'm not mocking you, Scientologists that's listening. I'm not.
There are no signs. All four of you, bro. There's no way you found this.
So are you saying that Tom Brady is a subscriber to this, or he is in the religion?
He's in the religion.
Oh my gosh.
He's in Scientology.
I want to write a new religion with John Cena and like Will Smith in it. And it's like
no. He is in it. Like he doesn't just think those are good ideas. He is a Scientologist. I thought you were saying.
Oh, so he's like
he's like
source.
one of the deities.
Yes.
No, he's not a source.
Wait.
He, like I would say, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
He's a Scientologist.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got you. Yeah, okay. I thought you meant
You thought he was
Tom Brady was part of the religion. Like, okay. Oh, so you're saying, do you believe in Tom Brady?
Stop.
Do you know about the Patriot Testament? Or
Hey, bro.
what does he play? The Buccaneers now?
I don't know.
Oh, bro. All right, anyway. I just remembered the Meat Canyon video.
Stop. We don't know what that is. We don't watch YouTube.
Not at all. YouTube?
Yeah.
YouTube has a problem.
That's where we started this podcast. No,
Was it
the
recorded?
previous one.
Okay.
Sorry, this is try 2, by the way.
Hey, guys.
If you didn't know. I don't know what else to talk about, but I kind of don't want to stop yet.
Listeners, it is 11:58 p.m. Wait, this isn't live. That's not how that works. I was gonna say if you got something you got to turn in, you better go and do it. But
hey, bro, if you're listening to this and you got homework, stop listening and go do your homework.
Matter of fact, before you do that homework, blink your eyes, lick your lips, and do the coolest thing you know how to do.
Bro. All right. Maybe we can go off topic now. Not off topic, but like we talked about, Christianity, and I think that's important. And maybe we'll do that. Maybe that's how we'll do these podcasts, where we start Christian,
off,
and we go next into something else.
Just into something for fun.
Yeah, but this time we had a lot to say for the Christianity. That's why we're 43 minutes in.
Sheesh. Well, this is so fun.
Yeah, I like doing this, honestly. It's fun. I've
If
always
we
wanted
actually
to.
put them out, that would be cool. That would be
Yeah.
fire. But
This is okay. Now this is kind of the second half of the podcast where we talk about whatever. Let's see about this.
now, if I
right now am a college student. I mentioned that before, and I think college is important, at least for me. It's not mandatory for everyone. I can definitely agree with that. But I've always known what I wanted to do for a long time. I've always known that I'm in computer science at UNC. So if you know anything about that situation, pray for me. If you don't, no, just know it's not ideal. It's kind of stinky. So pray for me, please. But I've always known what I want to do. My younger brother, my middle brother, Israel. He started college. Yes, I just name dropped him. Let me dox him too. He lives at 1234 Murray Lane.
bro.
No, and he
lives next to the
he
Muffin
goes
Man.
to college as
Figure
well.
it out. Do the math.
And he is in engineering. I don't know if that's what he wants to do, but he's at that stage in his life where he has no choice to start thinking about it. It's too late. So he's out there. He's in the world now. My co-partner here right now, the person I'm doing this podcast with.
Cut that out. Cut that out. Cut that out.
I'm not cutting that out, listeners. What do you want to do? Just asking my fellow host.
So, for the listeners, I believe he knows somewhat the answer to this.
I don't. Oh.
There isn't an answer.
Oh.
There ain't. And that's the thing. So,
yep, there's no answer for sure.
yeah, I've had a conversation with one of my classmates about this. She's like 34, and she was talking about how she came back to college and she's going to a 4-year after because she wants to do this and this and this and that. Really, really specific stuff that she's figured out. And then she asked me what I was here for, and she knew I was pretty young. She didn't know I was in high school. I don't think I explained that either because it's arbitrary.
It's
but
that mustache, bro.
oh my!
For those who don't know Elijah personally, he has this nasty mustache. He's trying to censor me right now. It's not gonna work. He needs to cut it off. All right, I'm done.
What was that sound? Did you guys hear like a droning, like whooshing, like somebody had the mic in their mouth, like
Yeah,
type of
what
sound?
was that? It was blocking me saying that he has a nasty.
Bro, whoa! I'm sorry. He
Another
was recording
sound.
his ad libs.
That's so crazy. But he said he was talking about.
Y'all stay safe. But anyway, so yeah, I was talking to my classmate, and she goes, and I'm listening. I'm really intrigued. I'm like, okay, so you want to do this and this and this, and she wants to be a teacher, and it's a passion, but not like a teacher she wants to teach like ESL or something because she came from another country. And she thinks it's really cool that she was helped by this really cool teacher that she had, and then she got this job. And she's like, well, I love my job and I make good money, but I want to make less money doing work that would help people that need help like me.
Random, before you go into when she asked you, did she tell you how much she makes?
No.
Because, bro, you can look up my teachers at UNC and see how much their salary is.
Uh-oh.
And one of my teachers, KMP, he's a teacher. He makes $130K a year.
Wow.
Teaching.
As just a UNC college instructor?
I think so. At least I know there's another guy, Paul Stotts, and he makes $150, and he's just a teacher. But KMP is like the head of the department.
Do they have like their
less.
like where they like
Tenure.
their address and the like instructor
no.
information?
But you can Google all that if you really wanted. I was actually doing that with my friend Luis.
Yeah, how far do you want to go with this?
Luis was saying, "What happens if I Google you?" And I was like, "I don't know. Sorry, I just name dropped you. Actually,
Dang, he means Luigi.
there are a lot of Luises though. I don't know. Louis, my fault. I'm saying it wrong. So Lewis was talking to me. He said, "What would happen if I Googled you?" So I said, "Go ahead, Google me." He Googles me. It pulls up this website that says peoplefinder.com or something, bro.
Whoa.
And it had my name, it had my address, it had my parents, their names, their numbers, their address, which is the same address, believe it or not. So if you really wanted, you could look me up right now and come over. But, you know, just know that we are in North Carolina, and things happen in North Carolina. No hate. But yeah, I was like, no way that all this stuff is just public knowledge.
That's weird. That's weird.
Anyway, so the lady was asking you, what do you want to do?
Yeah, and I told her, honestly, I have no idea. So I'm not in the same type of crisis as some people say, like, oh, well, what if I don't want to do anything? You know, I'm just trying to be a pro gamer, and I'm just trying, like...
He's not good enough to be a pro gamer. Just fun fact.
Isaiah's a hater. If I wanted to be a pro gamer, just know, like, bro, I don't know what I'm talking about. So anyway, moving on from that, because I couldn't think of a funny joke. What was I?
You were saying that you don't have the dilemma of not wanting to do anything.
Yeah. So I want to do something. I am excited to have a career working some job, making some amount in some place.
Nah, bro, we got to be balling. That's my goal. Not that's my goal, but like.
yeah, I got you. You know, make a good amount of money. I want to be a person to where somebody can be like, man, he's doing good for himself. Or I'm not sitting there like, oh, well, it's good enough. You know, like.
Oh, for context, I looked this up. And I looked up what is the average, like, salary in North Carolina. Where I just looked up North Carolina. It's kind of central. I don't live in North Carolina. And it's, I just go to UNC. It's,
that stands for
40 to 60K a year. And I mentioned that this teacher makes 130. It's more than double of the highest. Just saying. Proceed. You said you don't want to just make. Oh, I make enough. You said you want to make decent money. Okay, me too.
So
only 100K.
We're off the teacher. So but you know, I'm willing to do some career I hope I enjoy doing, but there was never some point in my childhood or in my adolescence that I guess I'm still in where I was like, oh, this career, I want to be a mechanic so bad. I want to do astronaut science so bad, dude.
Yeah, you don't have any
computer science,
necessarily
man.
any passions, I guess.
Yeah, like as far as the job field, it doesn't matter to me, but it should matter, like it matters, you know, but I just don't have a like, and you can't create that like. So at this point, true. I'm trying to
You're
use.
a junior, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to use.
He's running out of time, guys.
Whatever opportunities I can with school, with signing up for different types of classes, to try to expose myself to things that I will like, so that I won't end up with some job that I absolutely hate.
Right.
I'm okay if my job is only okay, but if it's a job that I would just hate, like that's just a sucky life. You got that job for years and years and years and years. That sucks. Yeah. So I want to have like a job that is livable, and I'm not trying to. So basically, I'm in a weird spot right now where I got to balance trying to find out if I like something to work in, and actually working towards something while I'm having these last few years. Like the last deciding years, the years where you're still allowed to decide what you're doing.
Yeah.
I need to be working towards something, or else I'll come out of them having missed a bunch of opportunities and then being too broke to pay for college and whatnot.
Right. Okay. All right. I guess that's the end of that topic. Want to go into kind of what we were talking about last night?
No.
A little vaguer, but like It's more vague.
My answer was pretty prompt.
Obviously not, the nitty gritty specifics. I think so.
We'll see.
Okay.
I might start screaming in this mic.
I was having this conversation, for those listening, with one of my dorm roommates. I live in a dorm, and we have like 4 dorms connected, and each of us, there are 2 people to a dorm, and fun fact, there's only 1 bathroom. It's super fun. But anyway, so I was talking with one of them, and
Y'all can see my face right now.
and we were he was talking about how when he is finished from school, he said he wants to buy a motorcycle and just kind of ride around in the sunset or something. Like, he had this idea in his head of something that he thought would be fun, just, not worry about anything. He didn't want to go straight into working after college. He kind of wants to do something fun first. And I thought that was pretty cool. And then he asked me, so is there anything that you really want to do when you get out of college? When you do you want to start working, or like, what's something that you look forward to or something like that? And surprising even myself, my answer was that I cannot wait to be a husband and a father. I just think that's so
You hear that, lady
cool,
listeners?
man.
He's right here. His number is 240.
Nah, bro, don't leak my number.
You're right. I don't even know it. I just know the area code.
Well,
and I had
great.
to,
Here's also something you should know. I'm 20, so I'm not close to getting married anytime soon. Now, you may be saying, what? People get married at 18. Not me, bro. I got to be balling first.
that's what you think.
Okay, moving on. That is something that I really aspire to do.
That's
Like,
cool.
not that I aspire to do it like a checklist. That's the kind of life I'm aiming for.
That's very
The life of fulfillment, the life of making the people in my life the happiest they can be, because 1, I love them, which is important, but 2, I'm the best.
this guy
You know
is
what
a
I mean?
doofus. Okay, so I want you to look at this.
Okay.
What do you think about, and this is going to be a long and weird question, and you answer it based on your interpretation of what the heck I'm saying.
Word.
Right? So, your big goals that you were talking about, like you cannot wait to be a husband and a father. In society today, them things, those concepts are kind of dying out. And I'm not talking about, oh, well, you don't even know if you're a father or a mother, because what is a woman? And people always bring up them.
Not that.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about most people have one parent.
That is true.
Most people who are in high school, middle school right now, they have one parent. Many of them, maybe they got a mom and a boyfriend. Well, the mom and the mom's boyfriend, or a dad and a dad's girlfriend, or just a dad or just a mom.
Yeah.
Mainly
Typically, it's not just the dad.
Yeah, mainly it's dad's missing.
We don't get custody, actually. That's usually what it is. You get passed back and forth.
Yeah. And so, do you think that will cause you to face any challenges that you?
Nah.
Nice.
Nah. 1, I'm never leaving my wife.
Nice.
And 2, I'm gonna love my wife. So why is she gonna leave me?
Double nice.
Right? Like, I don't.
Cause she racist. She got converted by the Mormons.
She's not. We not getting married at all, bro. She gonna hate our kids.
Okay, bro. Yeah.
Can you imagine that?
That's
anyway,
weird.
that's a side.
That's weird.
Yeah, no, I
My
think
goodness.
like, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier. Not going back, but back to the original, the first half. You need to have the Lord in your relationship if you want to
Christ
work.
in your core.
And you gotta have Christ in your core, man. But like,
Thank you, Tyler.
yeah. So you know, like when you're serving, like being a spouse is like service to someone else, and these kinds of traits are important, and you have to make sure that you know, you have God in the mix. I guess a lot of people, it's easy to say that, but really, you know, you just be a Christian and at the same time that you're a spouse, and that's all you got to do. Like, if there are some steps, you're like, well, what exactly does that mean? Do those two things, you be all right.
Fact.
Right? You know,
I like it.
now obviously it gets more complicated, but like, you know, just, you know, fall back. Those are the fallbacks. Love your wife, love your husband, and be a Christian. Be saved, love God. Feel me?
Yes.
So now, while I see these things a lot, I don't necessarily worry about them. What that does bring into question, however, is that maybe you can like find someone that you really like, someone that you connect with, you know, whether they're saved or not. I don't know. That's important for me, but for the listeners, maybe you're not that confident yet. Like, you're not even thinking about, you know, making sure that the person you want to spend the rest of your life with is saved, because maybe you're not saved yet, and that's cool. But, you know, that's pretty important. Like I was saying before, I think that's one of the core steps to a good marriage. But kind of going off of that, I think that there can be some difficulty when maybe the person that you want to be your spouse has had to live in a one-parent household, or they don't know what a marriage should look like. So then when you marry them, their idea of marriage or love or affection or whatever is not what you thought, or not what you think it is. And that can come with some challenges, and I think maybe that's the only way that kind of thing would affect me personally. And I'm not saying, pro tip, avoid people who don't have two parents. Like, nah, that's not what I'm saying.
I was like, wait, why is he saying that? Oh my gosh.
I'm not saying that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But like, just know that does play a role. There are a lot of things that you have to deal with. Being married is not always just what you're doing. It's not always like, oh, I'm doing everything right, so the marriage should be good. You know, it's two people. You know what I mean? If you have kids, it's two people and kids.
Oof.
Which, you know, it gets more complicated, but at the end of the day, you have to just love your spouse, want to work with them, want to be there for them in every situation, want to be understanding, and just want to know like what's going on with them. And you want to make sure this, I'm getting close to the mic because this is important, you want to make sure that you are communicating. I think that's one of the most, that's what everyone says, communication is key in a relationship. If you're not communicating, then there are a lot of areas for confusion, and confusion leads to problems.
It's true. And then even in the cases of having different backgrounds, especially really difficult ones, communication can help smooth over a lot of those misunderstandings that may have otherwise resulted in massive problems. And also, both of us on this podcast, I don't know if you, the listener, were already aware, but we're brothers and have had the same two parents our whole lives.
Yeah.
Those two parents, though, didn't come from like the nuclear families that we're describing, like having a goal of having, you know, a good marriage between a husband and a wife and their kids and everybody's involved and sticking together and all that. But like he said before, putting God in the center of it, kind of falling back on that, and then loving one another and sticking with each other and communicating, it ended up working out into a very good marriage.
Yeah, it did. From our very biased point of view, we think our parents' marriage is the best marriage ever.
They have the best kids.
Maybe, and yeah, they do have pretty good kids. You know, they got 2 out of 3.
And we will have to figure out who the odd duckling quack. Okay, it isn't me. It isn't me. It isn't me. I swear it's not me. I swear it isn't me.
It's not him, guys. Okay. No, for sure.
Okay, cool.
No, bro. I don't know. Yeah, I do think they're pretty good. They're, you know. So
yeah.
Kind of what I want to go into after this. Kind of my question here is: do you feel comfortable with your age being out there? I'm 20.
Yeah,
I mentioned that.
yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 16 years old.
All right. So, let's say you're in your brain, right?
Ooh.
You're thinking in your mind. This question is going to get a little bit more serious, just a little bit goofier. So prepare your like goofy to ask because it's kind of serious. You know,
He's crazy. He's the one.
So-
He's the duckling.
so this is for the listeners, just a warning that I'm asked this question. I'm not sure if I'm gonna get an answer. So obviously, as humans, as boys, as men, well, as males, I guess that's the easiest way to put that.
Dang.
We you know, everyone does this. People like people, yeah.
Yeah.
If you're listening right now and you say you've never liked anybody, I advise you to kind of going back to the first half, go into your Bible, read about Paul, because that's the life you're gonna live. It's just for context, my brother almost knocked over the whole recording setup. For context,
The other brother,
right?
not me.
When
Saved
you like somebody, are you in your brain thinking, I might marry this person? That's how I kind of have to think about it
Yeah.
as a 20-year-old, because it's like, if I'm not, what's the point? Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I think about it is like,
This man be having spring flings. No, I'm playing.
if you plant it, it's gonna grow. And so, like, you gotta think about what kind of crop you want, bro. Like,
That rhymed.
oh my goodness, I'm a freaking lyricist. That's okay. So that's what I want to do. I'm actually Eminem's better counterpart. Shut up. I'm better at rapping than him. No racial. So, what was I saying? So, if I like somebody, right?
Yeah.
And you know, liking somebody is kind of an internal thing that you can't really do much about.
Yeah.
You can do what you can choose what actions you take, but you can't do much about the feeling,
Yeah.
right? So the actions that I take are kind of usually oriented with that goal, like you were saying, of marriage. Like, if I cannot see myself with this person for specific reasons or for non-specific reasons, like there's no possible way I have a married future with this person, bro. It don't make sense. I'm going to have to keep my actions in my own lane because I don't want to build something that I don't want.
Okay.
So I'm not gonna like, oh, what's up, girl? If I ain't sure, because then she gets my, oh, what's up, girl? And it's like,
It's not. There's nothing that's gonna come of it, I guess.
yeah, and it doesn't, yeah, and then it takes away value from your own affections and stuff like that, because once you do find whichever person you would like to be that one, it's like, imagine you're giving them, you're saying all the same things you said to somebody you didn't even care about like that, and that's not cool to me.
Okay. I guess I can see where you're coming from. For me, it's more just like, that's not something I think about necessarily. It's more like, if I like you, I like you, and like, the goal is marriage necessarily, right? So that's what would come next, I guess. So it's like, I don't know. You don't just, I don't know. You can't force it. So yeah, that was really it. Because I don't know, thinking about it, next year you'll be 17,
Yes.
and we know people that have gotten married at 17.
Yes. Yes.
So
But
maybe you'll be one of
there are
them.
different types of circumstances going on. They were ready for. Oh, there are different types of circumstances. In those circumstances,
Yeah.
there's more urgency to it. So, like,
Oh.
I feel like I could just sit on it, you know?
Well, yeah, but then, like Pastor Ruby. Didn't he get married at like 18?
That brother was tripping. You know how they get like when, like for example, we just listened to, or me and my father 3 days ago in the car on the way home from school. We're listening to Pastor Brooks's testimony, and he was talking about how he proposed to his wife. This dude was insane. No, bruh. You gonna marry me, bruh? Literally, not, will you marry me? No, you gonna marry me? Yeah. What?
I thought it was you gonna be my wife or something.
Something like that, yeah. Something of that sort. Yeah. Yeah. You love me?
Nah.
Like,
nice.
Anyway,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. Things happen in all sorts of different ways. I guess that kind of tells you that there's no one right way to do anything. The only one right thing you can do, well, two, is love your spouse and love the Lord.
Yeah.
Like I was saying before.
Right back to the home plate.
Right back to the basics. Which is actually going right back to the beginning of this podcast. Elijah seems to think the basics we go over the basics too much.
Oh man, that's crazy how you just did that. That was pretty wild. That was like a Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Or a State Fair. So
listen to my music. No,
don't do it.
Don't. It's not reflective of what's good on this podcast. Also, I don't know if this is going to be in the same place as my music, because this could go up on SoundCloud, but this could also go up on the Fly YouTube channel. Can you imagine that?
That would be so cool to just have, not this one, but it would be so
one?
Bruh.
Why not this one?
Because
This one's fine.
It's too personal.
Sorry, I talked about you in this podcast, Pastor Deontay, and I'm about to talk about you some more. I'm about to talk to you. If I sent this podcast to you, you're listening to it right now. After hearing what you've just heard, is this viable to go up on the official Frontline Youth
Say
YouTube
no right
page?
now.
Don't say no.
Your conscience
He
is
put
telling
the
you it's
fly
not my
moments.
voice.
The fly moments.
The fly moments were about reading something in the Bible. How do you go wrong
started
with
like
that?
And now we're talking about marriage and the Lord.
Okay, but it's too personal.
I think it's fine. Nah.
It's too because
I'm gonna ask.
Bro, he's not gonna listen to this whole hour.
Yeah, he will.
It's 71 minutes right now. I guess he could do it while on the drive or something. But
Hey guys, if this is on the YouTube channel right now, you are hearing the inception of this, maybe this being on the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this and it's not on the YouTube channel, we have failed.
if you're listening to this and it's on the YouTube channel, I'm weeping and
Gnashing his teeth.
Yes, right now. I'm not talking about as we're recording, but as you're listening, because it's on YouTube, bro, you've killed me. You've crucified my
You guys are
my being. Bleeding out.
I don't know, because it would literally just be a black screen with the Fly logo and our voices.
Just some dudes talking, yeah, but
Not just some dudes, some brothers. Maybe
it's true. I was gonna say some bros, but I can't.
Yeah, we can't copy that.
Yeah.
But the thing about it, right? All this stuff is here. This podcast can continue on when I'm gone. It doesn't have to be just me and you, Elijah.
It's easier. It works better this way.
It could be you and Pastor Deontay, you and Jeremiah.
You have good podcast chemistry, though.
I know, but it's because I don't know. Like, I don't know. This has been an idea for a while. And that's why I kind of think this would be a good idea to go on the channel, because this is what Pastor Deontay, I'm talking about you again, has wanted to put
Bro,
on
he's
the
not going to
channel.
hear this. No way.
Has wanted to put on the channel, like some kind of podcast. And especially one that's from the perspective of some young Christians talking about not only Christianity, but about life. I think people should hear that. I think.
But this it's so it's for entertainment a little bit. A little, like, I feel like not everything on here that's said can be like, and so and so on the podcast said this and that, and so I'm taking it to heart. And
yeah, well, obviously we're not experts on anything. I might cut this out and put this at the beginning. We might record an intro first. So yeah, those are kind of the thoughts we're having. The idea. So if this does end up on the channel, then awesome. But I think that's it for this podcast. We're kind of done. This is kind of the first round, first go around, and it's I think we actually talked about some pretty cool things. We weren't just rambling. You know, we had some points to make, and I hope that we get to do this again. It might not be me on the podcast. It might be Elijah and someone else. It might be two totally different people. But I just think this is a good idea, kind of this podcast format. And yeah, so this is the end. Elijah, you got any words you want to say?
Yeah, just definitely let us know whatever platform this is put up on. If there's comments, or you just need to send a DM or something. If you have suggestions, like things you would want to hear about on the podcast or people you'd want to have. Now, those suggestions also may be completely ignored. It depends on how cool your suggestions are. But if you have a cool suggestion, you could totally submit that, and that will kind of drive it to move forward. If you want to be on here, again, you might be completely ignored, or you might be, you know what I'm saying? So just, give feedback, though.
Give feedback, be respectful, please, with your feedback. And, don't think that anything is like too silly to put in the comments. We will read them.
Yes.
And we will, determine if that makes sense to be put into like a podcast format to talk about. But we will read them. We will look at your opinions, and we definitely value those things. And we appreciate you listening, sticking around for the long time you've been here. I would say 72 minutes, but there have been some parts that probably we cut out or something, who knows. So it might be shorter, it might be longer. So yeah, thanks for listening. Bye guys.